You are standing in your kitchen this morning making the same coffee, checking the same notifications, feeling that familiar weight in your chest. That weight isn't depression, it isn't laziness. It is your soul suffocating under the gravity of a life you've unconsciously chosen to repeat, day after day, year after year. Right now, while you are watching this, millions of people are making the exact same mistake you are. They're buying new planners, switching morning routines, downloading meditation apps, thinking these surface changes will somehow transform their entire existence. But here is what nobody tells you about change, and this will either liberate you or terrify you. Here is the devastating truth that will change everything. The version of yourself you are desperately trying to improve is the exact version that is keeping you trapped. The comfortable prison you call your life. Let me paint you a picture of your invisible cage. You wake up feeling restless, scroll through other people's highlight reels, drink your coffee while mentally rehearsing the same conversations you'll have today. You'll smile at the right moments, agree when you don't agree, and say you are fine when something inside you is quietly screaming. This isn't living. This is surviving with style. The most insidious trap isn't that your life is terrible. It is that your life is fine, functional, manageable. You've become a master at making mediocrity look like success, and that skill is slowly poisoning your spirit. Here is what is really happening. Every day you choose comfort over growth, you are not just staying the same, you are actually moving backwards. While life accelerates around you, demanding more courage, more authenticity, more presence, you are still running on software from 5 years ago. And the scariest part, you've convinced yourself this is maturity. This is being responsible. This is what adult life looks like. But what if I told you that your biggest fear isn't failure? It is discovering who you could become if you stopped betraying yourself every single day. Why your brain is your biggest enemy. Your mind is not designed to help you grow. It is designed to keep you alive. And in your brain's primitive wisdom, lives means the same as yesterday. Every time you consider making a real change, your brain floods your system with anxiety, doubt, and 100 logical reasons why now isn't the right time. This is why you can watch endless motivational videos, read life-changing books, and attend inspiring seminars, yet still wake up tomorrow feeling exactly the same. You are trying to think your way into transformation, but change doesn't happen in your head. It happens in the space between who you are and who you are afraid to become. The psychology behind this is fascinating and terrifying. Dr. Robert Cialdini's research on commitment and consistency shows that humans will go to extraordinary lengths to remain consistent with their past decisions, even when those decisions are slowly destroying them. You've unconsciously committed to being the person who struggles with boundaries, the person who says yes when they mean no, the person who dreams big but settles small, and every day, you gather evidence to support this identity because changing it feels like psychological death. Here's the profound realization that changes everything. You are not afraid of change. You are afraid of grieving the person you've been pretending to be, the mirror phenomenon that is controlling your reality. Your external world is a direct reflection of your internal world, but not in the way most people think. It is not about manifestation or positive thinking. It is about unconscious patterns that loop endlessly until you become conscious enough to interrupt them. Watch your life closely for the next week. Notice how the same types of people show up in different scenarios. Notice how the same conflicts arise in different relationships. Notice how you keep encountering the same lessons wrapped in different packages. This isn't coincidence. This isn't bad luck. This is your unconscious mind recreating familiar experiences, because familiar feels safe, even when familiar is slowly suffocating you. I remember working with someone who complained about being surrounded by unreliable people. Every friend, every colleague, every romantic partner would eventually let them down. But here is what they couldn't see. They were unconsciously attracted to unreliable people, because being disappointed was more familiar than being genuinely supported. The moment they started choosing reliability over chemistry, their entire social circle transformed. Not because they found new people, but because they stopped attracting what matched their internal chaos. The devastating truth: your problems aren't happening to you. They're happening through you. The death that must happen before you can live. Real transformation requires a kind of death that no one talks about in self-help circles. It is the death of the identity you've built to survive circumstances that no longer exist. Think about it. The version of you that learned to people please to avoid conflict served you well when you were powerless. The version that learned to stay small to avoid criticism protected you when you were vulnerable. The version that learned to expect the worst to avoid disappointment helped you cope when life felt unpredictable. But these survival strategies have become your prison. You are still people-pleasing in situations where your boundaries matter more than their comfort. You are still playing small in arenas where your voice needs to be heard. You are still expecting the worst from people who are trying to love you. This is why change feels so threatening. It is not just about developing new habits. It is about letting parts of yourself die so that other parts can finally breathe. The profound paradox. You must be willing to disappoint the person you've been to, become the person you are meant to be. The space between who you were and who you are becoming. There is a phase in every real transformation that nobody warns you about. It is not the breakthrough moment. It is not the dramatic realization. It is the quiet, uncomfortable middle space, where you are no longer who you were but not yet who you are becoming. This space feels like walking through fog. You've let go of old patterns, but new ones haven't solidified yet. You've stopped reacting from old wounds, but you haven't fully learned how to respond from wisdom. You've ended relationships that drained you, but you haven't yet attracted ones that fulfill you. In this space, you'll question everything. You'll wonder if you made a mistake leaving your comfort zone. You'll romanticize the very situations you worked so hard to escape. You'll feel like you are losing your mind when actually you are finding your soul. This is where most people turn back. Not because they're weak, but because no one told them that healing feels like losing yourself before you find yourself. But if you can stay in this space, if you can sit with the discomfort of not knowing who you are, while trusting who you are, becoming something remarkable happens. The noise in your head gets quieter. Your own voice gets clearer. Your own direction becomes undeniable. Here is what they don't tell you about growth. The breakdown always comes before the breakthrough, and the breakdown is not a detour, it is the destination. The quiet revolution that changes everything. Real change doesn't look like what you see on social media. It is not dramatic. It is not inspirational. It doesn't come with before and after photos or testimonial videos. Real change happens in quiet moments when you pause before reacting defensively, when you choose honesty over harmony, when you say no without explaining yourself to death, when you stop trying to earn love from people who don't have the capacity to give it. It is the moment you realize you'd rather be disliked for who you are than loved for who you are pretending to be. It is choosing peace over drama, even when drama feels more exciting. It is walking away from conversations that drain your soul, even when everyone else thinks those people are nice. This kind of change is invisible to others, but revolutionary to your nervous system. You stop living in constant low-level anxiety. You stop scanning every room for threats. You stop editing yourself for other people's comfort. And here is what is beautiful. Once you start making these micro-changes, your life begins rearranging itself around your new energy, not because you demanded it, but because you stopped tolerating what didn't match who you were becoming. The identity shift that changes your entire reality. The most powerful changes happen when you shift your identity, not your behavior. Instead of trying to act like someone confident, you decide you are someone who trusts their own judgment. Instead of forcing yourself to set boundaries, you become someone who honors their own needs. This distinction is everything. Behavior change requires constant willpower and eventually fails under pressure. Identity change becomes self-reinforcing because you are no longer fighting against your own nature, you are expressing it. Think about someone who sees themselves as healthy versus someone who is trying to eat better. The person with a healthy identity doesn't have to force themselves to choose salad over pizza. They choose salad because that is what healthy people do, and they are a healthy person. The same principle applies to every area of your life. When you shift from, I am trying to be more confident to, I am someone who trusts their own voice, your entire reality reorganizes around this new truth. The transformation secret, nobody talks about. You don't change by trying harder. You change by deciding who you are, and then letting that identity express itself naturally. The price of staying the same, and why you can't afford it. While you are debating whether or not to change, life is making the decision for you. Every day you stay the same, you are not just missing opportunities, you are actively participating in your own diminishment. Your relationships stagnate because you are not growing into someone who can love and be loved more deeply. Your career plateaus because you are not becoming someone who can handle bigger challenges. Your inner world shrinks because you are not expanding your capacity for joy, presence, and authentic connection. But the real cost isn't professional or relational, it is spiritual. Every day you betray your own knowing, you lose a piece of your connection to yourself. Every time you choose safety over truth, you build a wall between who you are and who you are meant to be. And here is the tragedy. You can get really good at living this diminished life. You can become masterful at managing symptoms instead of addressing causes. You can build an impressive life that looks successful from the outside, while feeling hollow on the inside. The question isn't whether you can survive staying the same. The question is whether you can live with yourself if you do. The path forward, small deaths, big life. So what do you do with all of this? How do you start the process of becoming who you are meant to be without losing your mind in the process? First, understand that transformation isn't about adding more to your life. It is about subtracting what was never really you. It is about saying no to the good so you can say yes to the great. It is about disappointing people who only loved your representative, not your essence. Start small, but start with intention. Stop explaining your boundaries. A boundary explained is a boundary negotiated. Your no is a complete sentence. Stop performing emotions you don't feel. If you are not happy, stop smiling. If you are not okay, stop saying you are fine. Your authenticity gives others permission to be real too. Stop choosing comfort over growth. Every time you feel that familiar urge to play it safe, pause and ask, is this choice moving me toward who I want to become, or keeping me as who I've always been? Start listening to your body's wisdom. Your nervous system knows the difference between people who drain you and people who feed you. Stop intellectualizing what your gut already knows. Start grieving who you've been. You can't become new without letting the old die, and all death requires grief. Honor what served you while releasing what no longer fits. The moment everything shifts, there will come a moment, maybe while you are listening to this. Maybe weeks from now, when you realize you are done. Not angry done, not dramatic done, just done. Done pretending you are smaller than you are. Done choosing other people's comfort over your own growth. Done waiting for permission to become who you've always been underneath all the performing. This moment doesn't feel like a beginning. It feels like coming home. And from that place, change isn't something you have to force. It is something you can't stop. Not because you are trying to be different, but because you are finally being authentic. Here is the final truth that will either liberate you or haunt you. The person you are meant to become is already inside you, waiting for you to stop betraying them with your fear. The question isn't whether you are capable of change. You've been changing your entire life mostly in response to other people's needs and expectations. The question is whether you are brave enough to change in service of your own soul. Nothing changes if you stay the same, but everything changes when you remember who you were before the world told you who to be. The choice, as always, is yours, but choose quickly. Your future self is waiting, and they're running out of patience with your excuses.